I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahawah. Barakatah Yahawashi. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype, who look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom, to sisters Yahawah, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawah with the lesson. And yeah, I was just watching this with Apostle Har. And this Jake, I guess he came up to the brothers out in London, and he basically can't see the MOTB. He can't see it. So Apostle Har said he's not of the elect, not part of the elect, because he can't see it, right? And you know, the thing too about it is he's coming up there with his own perception, and then he's saying what makes sense. Well, then it sounds like you're fully persuaded in your own mind. So why are you coming to the brothers like as if you're going to convince them otherwise, right? It's almost like what, like his take, you know, or he wants someone to validate the thing that makes sense to him in his head. But the brothers said, no, that's not it. You're right. So let me go ahead and play a little bit, and I'm just going to do a small, quick joint, a reaction to this.
All these camps that teach this, not what he's teaching, the nonsense that he's teaching, watch all these camps, they're going to crumble.
I said that he could have been put to death, but he was spared his life.
Yes or no? Can you repent from taking the mark of the beast according to the scripture?
But if you're taking the mark of the beast, that's it, right?
Well, you said it's sin. We've all sinned.
Yeah.
So that means we've all got the mark of the beast. But you can't repent from it. What the hell are we doing out here?
Listen, when you come into this truth and you're not in sin,
And you're not in the truth. So you can, you know, he said when you come into the truth, but you're not in the truth. You know some truth, but you're not in the truth.
does that mean you taking the mark of the beast?
And that's a question he should have asked himself, right? Because that's what the brother's saying. If you take the mark of the beast, which you have to take it, right? You saying? Because it's telling you when you read it, it says they're gonna cause people to get this, and no one will be able to buy and sell. So they'll mean you have it already, because then he goes, well, didn't we sin when we? Well, that's what the brothers are asking you. If the MOTB is sin, haven't you already sinned? So based on your logic, we all have the mark of the beast. So that means we'll all be finished. They wouldn't have to cause all small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive it, because everyone has sinned, right? Even the nations, even though the laws wasn't given to them, they broke the land laws, like they broke the laws as far as live and let live, right? Moral laws, right? When you're chopping up children, you know what I'm saying? You just because you're not an Israelite, that don't mean it's okay for you to pedo children and chop them up. It doesn't escape you from chopping up too many trees, right? And it doesn't escape you from taking a man and selling a man, right? It doesn't excuse these other nations for that. But the other laws, the law of well, even adultery, right? Even the other nations knew that, right? Right? Because remember when you go into the time of I'm about to segue off the Abraham, and he went to that Egyptian king, which I'm gonna have to, yeah, I guess so. Since I'm already, I'm gonna go to it real quick. But that's the spirit, Let me go. Let me get to that. Yeah, here it is. Genesis chapter 12, verse 17 says, "And Yahawah plagued Pharaoh," right? So Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi plagued Pharaoh and his house with plagues because of Sarah, right? Or Sarai, Abraham's wife, right? It's before she became Sarah, right? Sarai, Abraham's wife. And Pharaoh called Abraham, or Abram, right? This is before he was Abraham. He was just Abram. And said, "What is this?" Right? What's this that thus has done unto me? Right? Hey, the Lord, hey, man, the king of terrors came through him in a dream, man. Yeah. And Abram or Abraham that's the Lord's guy, man. That's his man. That's his favorite person on earth. You know what I mean? Right? It says, "Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife?" I said, "Man, what's going on, man? Why did you tell me she was your wife?" It says, "Why sayest thou she is my sister?" I said, "Man, why did you tell me she was your sister?" Like, you gotta imagine what he's saying it with I'm just reading, but you gotta believe he's saying it with some emphasis, because he just got a fright of his life. He said, "Man, why did you tell me this is your sister?" Right? So I might have not. So I might have. So I might have taken her to be my wife. Right? See, he was thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna take this chick, and she gonna be my wife." So I might have taken her to be my wife. Now, therefore, behold, thy wife, take her and go thy way, man. Get the freak out of here, man. Get out of here fast too, because this is your wife. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all they had. Right, man. Get all their stuff up, gather, and get them out of here. Right now, even before the Lord came to him in a dream, if you listen to what he was saying, he was like, "Look, if you would have just said this woman is your wife, I wouldn't have dealt with her." And this is a heathen. This ain't got nothing to do with the law, statutes, commandments, as if they know anything like that. He didn't have no. It's just a regular moral law. You're not supposed to do these things, right? Right? Yeah. So yeah. So that's just a regular law that they have. If you steal from a man, if you do something with a man's wife, cut too many trees, things like that, the landslide, it, polluting the world. Those are things. That's why it says, destroy them that have polluted the world. You know what I mean? That have destroyed the earth. You're not supposed to just destroy the earth, because it's more than just you living here, right? Especially as a steward. It's not your position to do that as a steward. As you're being the person who's in management of the world. You're not the owner. You're just the manager, right? You're called like a landlord. That's all you are, right? But the whole thing with Esau is he take it beyond his bounds. That's why the Lord had to set a bounds, because he knew he would go above beyond and so he had to set a bound that he couldn't pass, right? And this guy is not getting it.
No. So, okay, the prophecy in Isaiah 59 says, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith the Lord. So the point is you have to turn from transgression. If you don't, that's the mark of the beast. That's the point, right? That makes sense.
This guy's a complete. But you know what? You know you can thank the IUIC, which the IUIC is a major stumbling block.
Right? It doesn't mean that if you're trying to keep the commandments, you fall short.
You got the mark of the beast right now. So you're going to be destroyed.
What is the mark? What do you mean I have the mark?
Because you're in sin.
Yeah, you're in sin. Right? Because he said the mark of the beast is sin. Right? And we've all sinned. Right? Because how can you turn from transgressions when you can't be perfect? You can't keep all the laws, especially in this society. So anytime you sin, when you don't have the mark of the beast. Now I got it. I got the mark of the beast. Now I don't got it. Like you're playing a game with the Most High. The Most High don't play games, man. Right? You must be in sin already. You know, you must already have the mark of the beast, which don't make sense. It's a cause of, right? You're not buying and selling by sin. It's just common sense. But see, it's kind of what they say. It's like a saying where people have a conversation to talk, but not to listen. Right? Or they have these, I don't know, just kind of like that. Someone that talks, but don't want to listen. They're not there. They're just to have a conversation, right? Almost like the was it the Galatians? Or was it the people of Corinth? One of them, but it was one of them jakes that lived in one of them Greek providence, and their whole thing was to learn some new philosophy. So you're just talking. Well, just tell me a new philosophy. You know what I mean? Just tell me something different. And then it's like, tell me anything but the truth. So the brothers is giving them a new, because anytime else, you love a new philosophy. Well, here's something new. The mark of the beast is the micro C hip. There's something new. But no. Wait a minute, brother. If you do like this and you have transgression in Israel, and well, if you have we all sin, right? First Ezra chapter 8 verse 74, and I said, "O Adawan Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash, I am confounded and ashamed before thy face." Right? Let's figure out why he's ashamed before the Lord's face. For our sins are multiplied above our heads, right? So our top men in Israel have sinned. The king, the priest, the council, the wise men, the military, the soldiers, right? All these, they've all sinned, even us, right? And our ignorance have reached unto heaven, and that brother have a lot of ignorance, meaning you don't know, right? It's a lot you didn't know nothing about, right? Which that's where you get the word revelation, right? Right? Because when you deal with the word revelation, right, being that's when the mark of the beast is spoken about, right? Yeah, so this is a revelation. Just went into regular dictionary, into Google, and this is why the apostle says, very important to go into words. Simple little Google search, simple little definition. You can even go grab a book and go into the definition. Something simple. It's not that hard, right? Especially nowadays, your computer's in your hand, right? And just simple little Google search. It says, revelation, a surprising and previously known fact. So we know about sin, right? But here's something that it's a sin if you do it, but it's not sin itself, right? Because the way they portray it off as if it's sin already, right? And this is also given to you as a choice, but not really a choice, right? You know, kind of what they did during the CV-19. It was mandated, but it was your choice to follow the mandation. Though pretty much everywhere you went, if you try to get a job somewhere or if you try to go in somewhere, you had to have your mask on, and if you didn't, they was gonna ask you to leave the place, right? But you didn't have to go. I don't have to go to your establishment, right? You just go without it, but you don't have to go. You know, I don't have to go to your job, right? Because that's what they gave me at my job. That's how I lost my job. I've been there 19 years. I was literally going on my 20th year, which I would have been fully invested, right? Going on my 20th year. You know, we're not firing you, but you can't stay here unless you have the jump shot. But we're not firing you. Especially how they put it. They're not firing me, but I can't stay there unless I have. So basically, I got fired, right? You know, at the end of the day. But they didn't call it fired, right? But it was a mandation, but I had a choice. So my choice was to walk away and not take it, right? But you do need a job to pay bills. So it is like a choice, but not a choice, depending on who you are, right? And where you at. So it says, so when it talks about something that you previously know, so we know about sin, right? It's previously known fact, right? And you know about money, right? Money's a pretty known fact about money. You know, you previously known about money, right? Especially one that is made known in a dramatic way. And see, and that's what's about to happen, man. Once this is pushed, and there's no what they call it, the new normal. This thing is gonna be this is gonna be a dramatic fashion. It's gonna be in a dramatic way. Right? Your way of buying and selling is gonna drastically be changed. So it don't have nothing with it actually being sin. Because that's what they would tell you. It's sin. The mark of the beast is sin. No, it is not sin. It's a sin if you get the charagma, right? Yeah, because you know when you think of it's something you're consciously gonna be doing, you know, because even when you one of the things that they tell you could do, they say you can go to a tattoo parlor and get the micro C hip put in you, right? You don't have to be you got to go to the doctor and get a surgeon and all this other stuff. Matter of fact, some people did it to themselves, right? You can go online and you can look at the people who bought it and then did it to themselves, and now they lock their phones and their house and their vehicle, and then they swipe their hand and they unlock the phone and the car and the vehicles, and they use it to pay for things, right? So that's just common sense, but it's something you do to yourself, a conscious decision. So like this, but you got to add something to it. It's a revelation, right? Something you previously known about, but there's something deeper to this revelation. So you know about this, right? This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 28. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh, right? And by getting the charagma, right, which the karax is the delivery system, right, which they call what, a needle, right? And then the charagma is put in you, right? And then on that charagma, it has grapho, right, which is records. It has your records, right? For the dead, nor painting, nor paint any marks. Oh, there's another mark, right? Marks upon you. I am Yahawah, right? See? Now, this is just, markings, drawings, whatever you'll put. Now, you can't buy and sell with it, but the Lord is saying that's sin. Once you do that, this is sin according to the law. But once you do this, that causes you to have to buy and sell, right? Yeah. So this is Luke 19:28. Yeah, because I just thought about that because Apostle Har went into that. The dude brought up a verse about one of the verses that Bishop Nate brought up. The Lord put his mark upon me. If I sin, the Lord will put his mark upon me, which that mark meaning shamar, which means to watch over you. So I was like, oh, well, this possibly, when it says mark here, it couldn't possibly be shamar, right? It'd be a different Hebrew word, right? And that's what they're missing out, because just because it says mark, because of the Hebrew or the Greek, there's different meanings, and it breaks down, and it breaks down to more than just a certain meaning, right? And so, and it says, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor paint any marks upon you, for I am Yahawah, right? It's Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi, right? And let's go into that word mark.
Strong's H 7085.
Or qua. Yeah, whatever they saying, right? Which is okay. And incision. So say you cut yourself, blah 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 blah. You have to get stitches. That's an incision, right? You had to do the thing. You had to get the stitches, but that's not the mark. You can't buy and sell with that. So if you get an incision, and once this incision happens, now you have to buy and sell through this incision. Now you're talking about a totally different incision, though you know about sin, right? Which is imprintments, tattoos, marks. Basically, going back into the word mark, basically meaning, some type of tattoo image, right? But when you go into the word charagma, it's also an image, right? It's the image of the beast, meaning the system, the Greco-Roman Empire, the system, going into their laws, because it tells you in it's an apocrypha. It says that they make the law their strength, right? And so everything is becoming, more advanced, digital, the technocracy. So now they even, not just the money is becoming technological, the law is also used in a technological way, right? I think I seen a root. Okay, let's see if we can.
Strong's H, 6970.
Kohai, right? Kohai, he
camel,
he camel, right? Which would be property, territory in Mesopotamia, east of the Tigris, on the borders of Elam and Midian, right? Media, right? Let's see. To spend the summer. Okay. Yeah, but this basically an incision. So that's what happened when you get the charagma, right? Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 17, and says that no man, nope, let's go up. It says that, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, right? Which that's why the brother was telling them, you're going to be then there's no hope for you. You might as well just, it's curtain for you. You're going to be destroyed, right? Because when you go into Revelations 4 and 9, because there's no repentance for your sins if you get the charagma, if you get the mark of the beast, right? It says doom worshippers of the beast, doomed worshippers of the it's your doom if you worship the beast. And the angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and the image, right, which is talking about the microchip in itself is the image. It's dealing with the system, tying yourself to this entire system, and receive his mark, right, which I'm going to go into that in a minute, in his forehead or in his hand. See, right here, it didn't say right hand, right? So it means right hand, left hand, wherever you want to put it. If you receive it, if they make you receive it, then you're not of the elect, right? It says, then another angel, a third one, followed them, saying with a loud voice, whoever, don't matter who you are, as an Israelite, ultimately, worship the beast and his image and receive the mark of the beast on the forehead or on the hand, right hand, left hand, on your hand or in your forehead, period. You're going to be destroyed, right? Let's keep going. Just light it up real quick. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the power of the Most High, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, which is poured out without mixture, right? So pure anger, he's not going to hold back, into the cup of his indignation, right? And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, right? So he too will have to drink. Yep. Right, because it's really supposed to be the punishment to the heathen. This is Esau's punishment. But he too, right? You Israelites too. He too will have to drink of the wine of the wrath of the power of the Most High, Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, mixed
Undiluted.
Ooh, undiluted. I like that. Undiluted into the cup of his anger, and he will torment with fire and brimstone, the missiles, the ICBM missiles, the lake of fire here in Babylon the Great, fiery was it solar flares? Wow. Fiery solar flares in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb Hamashiach, right? So now that we got that out the way, you're going to get destroyed, right? So if you see the so what it says, I'm gonna go off this amplified. So he compels. So right, they ain't gonna force you, but just like what they did during the CV-19, what did they do? They gave it over to the companies, the corporates, the what do you call it? The state, basically, right? They gave it to the state. The state gave it to the corporations. Said, if you don't do such, you're in violation of your agreement with the state, and we can come down and shut you down if you don't apply. So then they applied it, which forced you to have to comply with state rules and regulations in order for that business to keep working, in order for you to have a job, which that's what they're talking about, which he's in England, right? He had the English accent. So like in less than 2 weeks, they're about to have the digital ID. And he said, their prime minister said they won't be able to have a job without having the digital ID. It is impossible. And if someone's there without a digital ID and they're working, they're going to come and shut down their operation. And no one's going to do that. No one's going to do that. Not for you. Right? Right? So while you're playing a game, but you can't see it, it's crazy. It says, compels all small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, free, rich and poor, free men and slaves, Salakia, to be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, signifying allegiance to the beast, right? And there's not one antichrist or whatever how they try to make it be, but you're signifying, hey, this is my master, right? This is the digital all. You're saying Esau is your master. You're down with the revised Roman Empire, and that's your God, and that's your your safe haven, so to speak, right? It says, and that no one will be able to buy or sell, right, except the one who has the mark. So is it talking about a tattoo, right? So most people got tattoos. We all got tattoos. Maybe not everybody, but a majority of people have tattoos. But I can't buy and sell with my tattoo. So when you're going back into what we went into in Leviticus, it's a law that you previously know about, but this law goes into this mark, which will cause you to get an incision, so to speak, right? But once you get this incision, you're going to be able to buy and sell after this. So it's an addition to something you previously know. That's what revelation is, right? You know about money, but here's the addition to the new money. It's digital. You can't buy and sell unless you have this digital ID, this digital CBDC, if I'm saying it right. Salakia, if I'm not saying it right. But the digital money, right? It's just plain to see, right? And it says his mark, neither the name of the beast or the number of his name, which goes into the whole entire thing, because on the micro C hip it has the number. It'll be 666 and whatever else numerical numbers that they have for you, because basically, or maybe your social security number, 666, and maybe your social security, I don't know, but it's a way for them to track everything of who you are, your dental records, your everything. Matter of fact, let's go. Might as well, because that's what this is all about. It's long and it's tedious, so to speak, but it is what it is. Karagma, a stamp or imprinted mark. So it's going to be pressed into you. It's going to cause you to do this, right? Of the mark stamped, right? It's going to be put into your right hand, your forehead, right? On the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the anti-Hamashiach. But there's not one the system is anti-Hamashiach, right? Because it goes into the Novus Ordo Seclorum. Basically, what they were telling you, the new normal, right? No more regular dollars, no more regular debit cards, credit cards. Even your debit cards, your credit card is going to be obsolete. Because you figure, well, we already use our credit cards. Yeah, but that's going to be obsolete. It's going to be a totally different system, because your credit card is attached to, what is it called? The petrodollar. Even now, you have your Cash App. You don't necessarily see even that. They're conditioning you for it, because you don't see your money, but you go into the store and you tell them to put your cash, your FRNs, right? And you exchange, and they put it in it, and then they download it to your Cash App card, right? So now you have money on it. Now you don't see this money. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. You can't feel it. But you can take your Cash App card, and now they even have it where it has the tap. So you can take your Cash App card and then tap it. Put in your PIN, and then keep going. But they're gonna set it up to where you're not even gonna have to put a PIN. All you do is tap and walk, or you just walk out the store, and it automatically charges you. Which they're kind of conditioning you to that now. Like you go to these Sam's Clubs or this Costco's or something like that. I know Sam's Club is like that. You go in there, there's no cash registers. None whatsoever. There's no clerks, no cash register. You have to download your debit card into your phone, into their app, and you go in there and you basically you charge yourself as you go in the store. And when you come out, you're already paid for. So they already condition you for that, right? So it just makes sense. It says the mark branded upon horses. So this is another way of them being able to, because it has the numbers on it, and those numbers, right? I don't know. Like I said, it's gonna be. I know it's going to be 666. You know, kind of like the what they call the barcode, and then whatever else they would have, like your social security or some type of number, right? Which signifies that they own you, right? Because that's what the mark branded upon a horse. What is that for? For ownership, right? And then this is the Karax, which is the delivery system.
Strong's G 5482. Charax.
Yeah, Karax or Charaxo. To sharpen to a point, right? Which is a needle, right? And it says a pale, a stake, a palisade, a rampart, right? So this is basically the delivery system, right? Which is a needle, right? Go further in, grapho.
Strong's G 1125.
Grapho, right? To write with referring to the form of letters, right? Yeah, the form of letters on a tablet, parchment paper, or other material, right? Which that's what that thing is. What they call a motherboard, which is going to have information on a small device, right, so to speak, right? Which, on that small device is going to be to express in writing what characters. So it's going to be able to have these characters and these writings to be able to notify who you are. That's what the digital ID is about. That's what the digital dollars is going to be about. They're all going to be integrated into one, right? To commit to writing things not to be forgotten, written down records, right? So your dental records, your medical records, your everything about you, right? Your arrest record, everything about you is going to be on this. Where you were born, everything, your address, everything. They show you that even in the Back to the Future. Remember the wife, and she was like, and I don't know if she was drunk or intoxicated. Something happened, but the car drove her home, even though she wasn't conscious. Oh, it wasn't even her. It was the previous her from the past. But when it got in, it still read her retina, her eye, her thing, her fingerprint. It read who she were, and it drove her to her future home, her future self, right? So this is the thing that they've shown you this for forever. That was like late 80s, early 90s, something like this thing they've been doing, bro. Like, it's just stupid that you don't know, right? I did all that to get back to here, right? Because that was your ignorance, but then revelation in itself, meaning something you knew about, but there's some more expounding to do to something that you knew about. It's a deeper, surprising thing, which is going to change everything. It's going to be a shocking and surprising change to life, right? It's going to make a very big impact in how you live. It's going to shake up everything. That's what Apostle R keeps saying. They're going to get shaken up, man. Right? So you can't say that it's regular sin. It says, for forever, right? Going back to Adam and Eve, forever, since time of our fathers, we have been and are in great sin from the beginning, from forever. So if you go back to Adam and Eve had the mark of the beast, right? That will be your logic to tell us that sin is the mark of the beast. That will be your logic, that Adam and Eve had the mark of the beast. Right? Then Noah must have had it. And then, Fax had it, Eber, and all the way down to you know what I mean? And Abraham, the Lord, oh, Abraham, my beloved, I'm coming to choose you to separate you and leave from your father. But you know what? You got the mark of the beast. I'm going to destroy you because you sinned. Because you did lie to the Pharaoh, right? Which actually he didn't, right? He didn't lie to him. He didn't lie to him because, well, you just got to read. When you go back, you'll know. If you know about it, then you're good. You know that he didn't lie. Like Apostle say. If you know that, you're good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we've. You can't say Adam and Eve had the mark of the beast, and you can't say any of these other people had the mark of the beast. It's just stupid. That would be your logic. That the mark of the beast is sin. It says I'm just reading again. Forever since the time of our fathers, right? Going back to Adam and Eve, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They've had sin, right? There's no one that not have sin, right? Have sin been and are in great sin even to this day. And that's where we're at. We're here in Babylon the Great, and we can't keep all the law, statutes, commandments, but we do it to the best of our ability. We rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our ability, and that's all you can do, right? Well, it says for our sins and our father's sins, we are with our brethren, right? And our kings and our priests were given up unto kings of the earth, right? And where we at? Under Esau at this time, right? Under Esau, Edom. To the sword and captivity. Where you at? Are you not in captivity? Right? Were we not given to the sword? And Esau's about to come down with the sword, having great wrath, knowing he had but a short time. Once all over again. So what time period are you living in? But revelation is meant for you to get a deeper understanding of something that you already know, but it's going to expound on it in a deeper fashion, right? Right? Giving you a something that was hidden, right? And now it's being revealed, right? To the sword, to captivity, and for a prey with shame unto this day. See, and that's the thing that we had. So if that's the case, you're trying to say that we already have the mark of the beast. So all of our forefathers had the mark of the beast already, if the mark of the beast is sin. But it can't be when you get the true understanding and just a clear, simple thing of going to dictionary. That was a regular dictionary. What meaning of revelation? Broke down everything, and then it means it has to be something else. Then you go into the scripture and you see that it has to. You have to be able to buy and sell with it. So you go back to Leviticus. It's when you do that, you incisions to yourself and carvings. it's just a tattoo, but you can't buy and sell with a tattoo. So what is this incision or this thing that goes into your skin, right? That's gonna leave something that has records, right? 'Cause that's what it's telling you. This thing, when it's gonna have a record. And what do you have records for? Things not to be forgotten, right? And people don't. Yeah, hey, yeah, like I said, going into that example I did about the Back to the Future. She didn't even know where she didn't know she lived there. That was her past, her young self in her future life, which we know they can't do that, but just expound on it, and it read her retina, her fingerprints, everything that they're asking you to do right now, right? And it dropped her off at her house, her future house. And then she was able to get in. Why? Because it was the same retina, because it was her. Even though it was the young her, it didn't have an understanding, said, wait a minute, this is the young you and not the old you, so I can't let you in. No, it goes off of her retina, her fingerprint, who she is. Being able to buy and sell and use all these different things with the digital capabilities of this new returned Roman Empire, the one with the deadly wound that was healed, going into their technological advances, using the technological advances and everything that they use, money, law, and even military. So call Layim Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, your Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Bible ball and Kwam Yasharallah.